What's good, Josh? Your boy J Suave. I am the host of J Suave TV. And just like that, I'm back with more BMF content for you. Now, I didn't mention this in the last video I dropped, but I literally caught up on BMF about 2 days ago. I was like 2 episodes behind for the longest time. I'm waiting for my lady so we can go ahead and watch it together. So I wasn't able to get y'all that content in real time, but thankfully I am caught up now, right before the finale drops tomorrow. So I figure I'll go ahead and give y'all some of my predictions for the end of the series. Because as far as I know right now, this is going to be the final season of BMF, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because though I do think we're ending the series at an appropriate point, especially with knowing how BMF ends up breaking up. We got Terry and Meech serving jail time. I'm not necessarily mad at where it's ending, more so just how I feel like we could have really benefited of having one more season after this. But it is what it is. 50's made his decision. I guess Stars has made their decision too. But one thing I would say, if it is possible, Tubi, you go ahead and pick this up. It's going to bring a lot of people to your platform is all I'm saying. I'll see some of the things that happen on BMF. You telling me right now there's no way you can see BMF playing on Tubi? I'm just saying Tubi could be fumbling a monumentous bag, not putting it on his platform, if possible anyway. But until we get that news, I'm going to consider this the very last season of BMF, and we go treat it like that. Before I get into these predictions, though, y'all already know what y'all got to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. Let's get into some predictions I have for the end of BMF. Now, my first prediction, we definitely going to get an end to this Mexico timeline. Finally, bro, I know it's not just me who feels like this storyline has been dragging for an unnecessarily long amount of time. To me, it barely brings anything to the story. Like, we already see in real time that Meech and Terry have beef with each other over shit that's not related to the Mexico timeline at all. We don't need this anymore. The prediction I have, Meech and Terry go have their hands full in this episode, but they're going to have to team up in some capacity to take out their ops. I think this is the second time the narrator Terry mentions that, unbeknownst to them, their ops are all assembling against them at the worst time. And with that means BMF is going to take a significant hit. I think it's going to get bad, but I also think Meech and Terry are going to see that they go have to team up in order to put their ops away, not just for the organization, but for their family as well. Now, another thing I could predict happening by the end of the season, Meech and Terry's arrest. I haven't really seen any callbacks to what happened in real life with T having the wiretap call, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been happening behind the scenes. Something else I could definitely see happening in this episode is that it will be rushed to fit in a lot of what happened with BMF in real life in order to fit things like this in, right? Because I don't really think that Meech and Terry got arrested around this time. Maybe I'm tripping. I mean, a lot of time has passed since the first season, so maybe it is accurate in terms of when they got locked. But I just cannot see the series ending without them getting locked up, bro. All right, how you doing? Future me real quick. So look, I had made some comments about how I feel like Meech and Terry are going to be arrested prior to this epilogue that I brought up at the end of the video. So I got to clear that up real quick because obviously we know that I think Meech had his kid before he got arrested. So I don't think that could happen in the series, at least for the epilogue. So I want to correct is basically just that I think that Lamar's going to take out B. Mickey when they get to Atlanta because they don't know that they're heading down there as far as he knows. I could definitely see Bryant potentially locking up Lamar after this and Meech and Terry finding a way to get about the situation because their plot armor is insane. And I also feel like they're going to have to team up to take out their ops. Like that's the one thing that I'm for sure is going to have to happen. I think that's going to be the last reconcile between the two brothers before we get to the epilogue. We see they're kind of back in the ways that they've been treating each other throughout the season, and they'll get locked up by the end of it as what happens in real life. It doesn't make sense to end this series on a high note when we already know what happens to them in real life. I find it a lot less realistic that they're able to get BMF back in a good situation before the end of this series than them just getting locked up altogether, especially with all the ops coming after them, with one of their ops being Bryant. Another prediction I have for the end of the season. Now, this might be out there, but we did see B. Mickey run into Bryant, unbeknownst to Bryant in the last episode. I could definitely see in this episode B. Mickey finding out that his family's been kidnapped. He'll put 2 and 2 together that Lamar's alive. And he might go back to Bryant for his assistance in getting Lamar off the streets in the right way in exchange for like Meech and Terry's location to get him off the streets by the end of the season as well. Now, obviously, some of the ops got to go down in the season. I could definitely see Trell be one of those guys. I'm sure Meech at the very least is not going to let Purdy's death go lying down. He's probably going to approach him for the 3rd time at his crib and finally put this low-life scumbag down. And on the other end, I can see Terry doing Boom foul. After hearing what happened to Markeisha in that accident, I know he's not going to like that shit. I can see him catching Boom lacking and taking him out in the same way Meech does Trell. They both get 2 buys before they get thrown into the pen. I think that could happen. I know Meech and Terry aren't normally ones to resort to killing, but in this circumstance where Meech generally had love for Purdy, and we already know how T felt about Markeisha, I just can't see them letting him get away with it. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that situation in the comments. Especially since we know they're coming after them. It don't make sense to leave that stone unturned. I think a large majority of this finale episode will take place in Atlanta. The reason I say this is because that's where Lamar is currently headed to catch Meech and Terry lacking along with B. Mickey. And that's where everybody's at for real. I think Boom and Markeisha stay in Atlanta as well. Trell's out here. We know Bryant's out here from B. Mickey seeing him in the last episode. It's where Bryant has most of his guys with him too, the Red Dogs. So yeah, it's going to be really active in this finale episode. I'm not even going to lie. As for the Flannery side of things, I definitely see Lucille losing that pastor job. And what I say to that is, it's about damn time. I don't want to be all negative about it necessarily, but the way they were coming at Lucille in the last episode for the tithes and offerings, and also just being all up in her business about how she's able to afford these new things in her life, I just don't think they about to let her off this time around. That's just my opinion. Let me know how y'all feel like Pastor Lucille's gonna go. I also think some way, somehow, Breeze will put two and two together and realize that that baby is not his. And either we'll see him become dejected and want nothing to do with this baby afterward, become the father that stepped up, or we'll see Worm return to the series, the father of his own baby. Now, I want to say that they'll throw in some type of epilogue to end out this series, but I really don't know. BMF has definitely been up and down on the Starz platform, but it's a story that I feel like deserves to be told in its entirety. And if you can't do it by adding an extra season, I feel like the least you could do is give them some type of 5-minute epilogue where we see Meech have Lil Meech. I think Terry has a kid as well before they get locked up by the end of this series. I think that makes the most sense. Now, obviously, it's going to be a lot that they got to fit into this finale episode. So much so, I fear it's going to feel like it's all over the place. But I hope that they do this series some justice. It was a fun ride throughout. I gotta admit, the writing was not always the best. Season 3, I'm looking at you. In the 4 years that it's been out, I've got to say, you kept me entertained. That's all I can ask for as a fan of TV at the end of the day. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Leave your predictions for this series finale of BMF in the comments. If you made it this far in the video, comment your favorite moment throughout the entire series. Until next time, though, I'll be your host, Jay Suave. We've been entertained, and we gonna talk soon. Peace, y'all.